Archaeologists in Siberia found an object that was over 2,000 years old, but it looked like something very familiar to them. An iPhone. Now, obviously this wasn't a 2,000-year-old iPhone. It was actually a belt buckle made of jet, which is a gem that's made from very highly pressurized wood, so kind of like a cousin to coal. Very black, very shiny, and it was shaped in a rectangle, and it was decorated with stones, precious stones, so carnelian and mother of pearl and turquoise, and so it looked like a decorated iPhone case. And they found it in a grave at a site in southern Siberia, near the border of Mongolia. And the grave and the cemetery where they found it they dated to about 2,000 years ago. But what's really interesting about this site is that archaeologists can only visit it for a few weeks a year. In fact, it's called the Russian Atlantis, because most of the year, the site is actually underwater. It's at the bottom of a sea. It's actually an artificial reservoir, and it's a floodplain. So for most of the year, the site is actually inaccessible because it's underwater. So for just a few weeks out of the year, in May into the beginning of June, archaeologists can go and visit this very historically important site. Now, archaeologists actually found this belt buckle a few years ago and published a study about it in 2018. But recently, one of the archaeologists posted about it on his Instagram, and people started noticing it all over again. Maybe because the iPhone was in the news this week already. When the researchers wrote about the belt buckle, they said that there were 2 round holes on one side for fixing the buckle to the belt, and 1 oval hole on the other side, probably for clasping. So a very fancy accessory for a fancy lady. The grave where they found this iPhone belonged to a woman who was part of a Eurasian culture that was nomadic. And they've actually been able to find evidence of buckles like this kind of following a migratory trail. So as this group of people who were nomads wandered from east into the west, they brought these belt buckles with them, and archaeologists can now find them at different dig sites along the way. Because scientists can only visit this site for a few weeks out of the year, there is still a lot that they have yet to discover about these cemeteries and the people in these graves and the objects in these graves. But within just a few months, we should be hearing more about some of the interesting iPhones and maybe iPads, mini iPhones, mini iPads that are coming out of this site. So check back here and see.